Yeah.
There you go. You weren't expecting that today.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
Wait, do you have any horror stories? Can you tell me yours
about that?
I'm feeling vulnerable. What horrible.
I'm sorry. I want to help with you feel like your vulnerable feeling, but I don't know that I've had any horror stories.
That's good because you have good boundaries.
No. I probably, yeah. I mean, I've done therapy for much longer than I've done coaching. Where I think, not saying there are terrible therapists out there. Thankfully, I have not dealt with them, but there are like more standardized.
No, you picked the good ones. You vetted the people. You didn't just let someone's good sales technique tell you, like, oh, I'm sure if they're good at sales, they're great.
I will say, though, I have been on the other end of the hard sell and experienced that. And I think coming out of that, I think it worked on me once and then never again because I paid attention to how I felt after. And I decided, I'm not going to buy from anyone who really pushes me to make a decision on that call. I know it's a very common tactic in this industry, and I hate it. I'm a person who, I sometimes have trouble connecting to how I'm feeling when I'm with another person, especially when it's like a charged relationship where I know that they have an agenda to sell me something, or that even if they are like keeping my best interests at heart, I know that they probably want me to buy something from them. So I have a lot of trouble connecting with like how I'm feeling, and I need to be able to spend time with myself in order to decide that. And I just don't make big financial decisions like that. I'm just not. I've always been a person who likes to spend time thinking about that. So I will say that and that was actually, I had already coached with this person and we were nearing the end of their package or my package with them. And they did transition to talking about it. And it was in a way of I'm coaching to support you, but I could tell it was let's talk about this so you decide whether or not you're going to buy and renew with me. And people can smell that shit. It is not subtle. And it's also just personally, I'm sure this coach has evolved. They were really an incredible coach when we were working together, but this just didn't sit well with me. But I think I don't talk about renewals in my packages, because that is paid time. I'm not going to use paid time to do a glorified consult. That doesn't sit right with me. And if I do, with a caveat that I do offer, I note in the session, hey, we have 2 more sessions left. Let me know if you want to work anything out. I'm here to support you. But I just wanted to let you know we could have a conversation about that if you want to. So it's fully client led. Yeah. I'm a resource for them if they want it. But yeah, I think that's the ickiest experience I've had coaching though. And honestly, even though we had a really good time, I had a great time coaching with this person, I still feel a little bit because that was I felt so on the spot. I had to say yes or no. I had something in mind that I wanted to coach on that day. It was just very jarring to me in a way that I didn't like.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, I definitely in my earlier days kind of followed a certain format of consults basically until I realized the same thing. I don't want to I don't want to ask someone to make a decision on a call where they've just met me because that doesn't feel right. And that's not how I make decisions. But yeah, I mean, I made that mistake a number of times, just kind of following a sales method that all these people were like, this works. Right. And I have a great close rate and all of that. And I was naive in that way until at some point I was like, this doesn't feel right. This doesn't feel good. And I'll quote, one of our mentors, Bev, who says, what if it doesn't feel right? It's because you're trying to do something that's totally misaligned with you. What if that is a lie for you? And it's okay that it works for other people. And it's okay if other people feel genuinely that method is in the best interest of the person. But if it doesn't feel like that for you, why are you doing it? And
Yes.
that kind of set me free.
Mm-hmm.
I too don't want to, I actually say this in an email. I actually only now email. I'm like, this is where we're at in your package. I will not be bringing this up on a session because your session is your time. But if you want to have a separate call to talk about what the next chapter could look like, if you want to continue this relationship. And I will just say, for coaches listening, I have a really high renewal rate. I have worked with most of my clients for years. It is why my clients, my current clients have been my clients for a long time. My whole business success is because of those relationships. So I say that not as like, this is just a thing I think, but this is a thing that's helped me really preserve incredible relationships where my clients never feel like I'm just counting down the ticker to like, when can I get paid by this person again? Like, I just don't do that. And that has worked. So if people are like, what will work? I'm like, that has worked really well for me. It sounds like that's helped you not put weird, icky pressure in your relationships.
Yes. And I also want to say, okay, I might steal that idea of like emailing, by the way. That's brilliant. I hope that for anyone listening, especially for like newer coaches, if you're listening, I hope this conversation feels like permission rather than like I'm doing it wrong. Because I think I'm so glad that you shared, you also followed that format. And I didn't follow that format, but like I've done a lot of shit that like I've evolved as a coach and a person. And so I want to normalize going along with industry standards and then getting in touch with how they actually feel with you and pivoting. I think that's like a beautiful thing. And if there's something that you feel a strong sense of resistance toward, or that just doesn't really feel right to you, maybe you don't have to try harder at doing the thing that doesn't feel great. Instead, maybe your intuition or your knowing or whatever you want to call it is telling you that like you want to do business in a different way. Yeah. And I hope this feels like permission to explore that.
Yes. I just, it's permission to explore. It's permission to change how you've done it. Like, I feel bad for all the people I talked to for the first like year and a half of my
me too.
business. Like, I'm sorry about those terrible consults and like whatever I thought I was doing to like follow the method. But maybe I would have done that and it would have been amazing. And I would have that would have worked really beautifully and it felt right. And that would have been fine. It just did not happen to work for me.
Yeah. And there might be people out there who respond to that, who would sit in indecision and go back and forth and feel like it's a breath of fresh air to make a decision on a call. So it's not, I'm not saying like that. I have my personal opinion on it that I feel good about, but like, that's not to say anyone who does it a different way is wrong.
100%. And I mean, okay, here's another one. This is my bad boundaries.
The mocktail episode is the tell-all.
Yeah, there's no alcohol here. I'm just sharing totally sober, which feels harder. I was also on a consult call. This was a person who had been recommended to me, and they had a really like pushy sales tactic. It was for someone who was going to help me with a certain project. And they basically just talked over me the whole time, talked about how amazing they were, how many projects a year they do, how busy they are, how if we work together, they only have between like 11 and 1:30 on Wednesdays. That would be my time. And And then I was like, okay, this person did not read the intake form, does not know that I've done this type of project probably, for years. Like I'm not an inexperienced newbie in this space. And then the last thing that they said, I had told them that I own my company. I don't know why I told them how much money I made. But it was like not insignificant. It was I was having a good year. It was one of my first really good years. And then at the end of the call, this woman said to me, now, I know you'll have to talk it over with your husband. You'll have to ask him about whether you can do this. So what I'm going to do is I'd love to get his email too, so that I can email you both the proposal so that he can understand all of these things. It was nothing to do with me. I was like, how? I'm like, did I even mention that I have a husband?
What?
Okay, what's worse? Picking your teeth on a paid coaching call, or having a woman tell another woman she knows that I can't make a decision to like talk to my husband.
I have to go, husband. I'm sorry. I'm offended. Okay, I'm like viscerally offended by the picking teeth thing, but like I am morally, spiritually offended by the assumption that A, you have a husband if you haven't mentioned him, and B, you have to like consult him on decisions. Like what? Oh no.
You should have added something to this.
You're going to have to after this conversation.
I'm going to pop a little gin in there.
Yes.
But I mean, I think that was probably what like sealed the deal for me. I was like, ugh, like I think it's fine to say like, hey, you might want to talk this over with your, like to be like very open and say like, you may have other people who are part of this decision. And it was just a total blanket assumption. It was super offensive. Obviously I did not work with that person because I had learned my lesson.
Shocker.
But that's, I think, when I decided that I was like, no more of this bullshit. I am not pressuring people. I am not going to answer questions they didn't ask me. I am not going to talk about myself. I'm here for whatever that person needs. And if all I do is just have a connection with them, great. Mm-hmm. That actually was just a beautiful learning about how not to do it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Oh my God. I can't. But I do think the common theme in what we're talking about here, which has evolved from quite beautifully from the initial conversation in a way I love that happens. But I think the common theme here is like, you got to treat your clients like people, like autonomous people who have value and have their own stuff going on, and you like can't make assumptions about because they matter as individual humans. Like I think and that's never a bad business move. Yeah. I think like it's never bad or going to hurt your business, or if it does, like I don't want a business that's built on the opposite. Mm-hmm. But like you treat people like human beings who you can't like project yourself onto them or just view them as like money machines.
Yes. This is, I just think if we maybe think about if someone's willing to get on the phone to talk with you candidly about something important to them, a change that they're scared to make, like, I think that is very sacred. I think that's, that takes guts for people. And I just wouldn't want someone I love to show up on a call and just be sold to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I have a client actually who I've worked with for a long time. And I remember when she did her initial, I used to have the form where I would say like, I mean, it's still on my form. I tell people exactly how much my programs are, but it said it's a significant investment of money. Like, do you feel comfortable making that? And her response was like, I don't know. I don't make a lot of money. Not sure it'll work. And I remember thinking to myself when I saw the thing, I was just like, oh no, it's somebody who I'm going to have to like go through the uncomfortable, like pricing stuff with. And I almost canceled the consult. I was like, like just from my discomfort. I was like, this person's not gonna be able to afford it. We're going to have this great conversation probably. And then I'm going to tell them the price and I'm going to watch their face drop. And it's going to be like so hard for me to do that again. Because hundreds of people after like years of doing it. You know, you talk to people and you care about them, and then they find out. And this was the old kind of method that I followed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad I had that conversation, because the person actually said, this is more than I can spend. I want to do it because I think I really need to just take a chance on this. And I feel really connected with you. So like, let's do it. If we can do a payment plan, let's do it, which I did. And that business owner like grew to a 7-figure business. Like she's one of my success stories. She shared this publicly, so I'm not sharing anything that she hasn't talked about publicly. But it was one of those things where like I could have screwed that up by not viewing her taking the step towards me as a sacred thing.
Mm-hmm.
And like just judging based on like a form and not seeing the complex person before me who was like looking for something.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of people in the world who need things, and maybe it's not always going to be the exact thing that we as coaches do, but like maybe there's a really good reason to talk to as many people as possible when they take the initiative to reach out to you, whether it's a message on social media, a consult call, someone responding to your email. Like, you don't know how much your interaction with that person could actually change not that just their life, but your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's so beautiful about that as well in the context of this conversation is neither did you like take a step back and just assume that you knew it was going to be a no, nor did you try to like hard sell her or like push her into anything. You just created space for her to pursue what she wanted. Yeah. And you showed up like as truthfully and with as much connection as possible.
Yeah.
And like, that's all you really got to do.
All you have to do, because the people who are motivated to do the heavy lifting of this mindset work and whatever tools that we give them, if they're willing to do it, then they are going to have an incredible time. And I think that too many people put so much emphasis on the slick sales and the psychological, let's create psychological safety so we can get to it. Like, what if you just created safety for people to do what they want to do?
Mm-hmm.
I think I think it's a better business. I don't feel stressed when I talk to people now. I am not. Know, it's really nice.
Why do you think more people don't do that?
So I think it's two or three things, maybe. One, I think a lot of people jump into entrepreneurship without really having their own financial security sorted out. Like, I think we get passionate, excited about the dream. We're like, yes, I'm quitting my corporate job and I'm jumping into this thing and I'm going to make it work and I'm going to replace my salary. And then we find out that it's not just doing what you love all day. As you know, running a business is about, what do they say? It's like 5% of doing what you love and then 95% of stuff you didn't know even that existed. Like, you have to learn. There's just so much learning that happens. And then there's the confidence of being a new coach. Like, I think what happens is sometimes the dynamic is people get into a situation where they need something desperately from that other person. They need that client to say yes, so that they feel like they are going to be able to pay their mortgage. Mm-hmm. And that's tough because, yeah, you probably do need to pay your mortgage.
Yes.
But if that's anywhere in that conversation with that person, it's probably like especially for what we do, it's hard to be fully present.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that's true for a lot of things, that like the pressure is kind of anathema to actually creating space to do the thing well. So yeah, I mean, I see that a lot in the arts where people have a lot of their identity, a lot of their financial stuff tied up in the success of something. And it's completely paralyzing for the actual process of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's depleting when you're trying to do something that feels so good and so right to you, but then for some reason the bank account isn't reflecting what your heart is calling for and what your vision is pointing you towards. Like, I think that that's scary. And I think that that can derail your confidence and your trust and your attention. And then I think it's like a vicious cycle, because then it makes you less effective as an artist or as a coach or as a, practitioner of some kind. It's really distracting. So I think that's like a big reason is the setup isn't there for you to actually have the space to learn and grow and, ramp up in a way that most businesses figure out. Like startups get capital sometimes before there's even a product. They just have a good idea and they pitch it, and some VC firms like, sure, sounds great, here's $1 million. Not every, I mean, there's of course bootstrap companies, but it's really hard to get people to invest in a service-based business. And it's a lot of you having to generate that energy and do the things. And I just think that people often will underestimate just how much emotional energy goes into starting a business. And then they don't give themselves necessarily the runway to do it financially and have the emotional support or their own coaching team. Like, it's hard.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I think is to say, like, if you hear us and you're like, these things sound good in theory, but I have a mortgage to pay. I think viewing, supporting yourself, like you might choose to invest in your own business for a bit. Like, I think that's what I did when I was starting out, and I may do it again, where you have a day job or find other ways to make money while you're in order to support your business. Because a lot of new businesses, they do, in order to get off the ground, they do require a ramp up that is not quite as pressurized of an environment.
100%. And even if you're like totally fine financially, you've said, I'm putting aside a year's worth of my salary as a coach or as a service-based business so that I don't ever have to worry about my salary. It's just going to come out. That nest egg is there. Even then, what is the support, the emotional support that you need? Like, are you going to hire someone to help you with like the systems and the back end and that stuff? Or are you going to give yourself the room to learn some of those things? I'm really curious. I think we're going to talk about AI maybe next time. Because I think I know you and I have different opinions, and I'm really excited to hear them. But like, there are, different tools than when I started this business in like 2018, that we don't necessarily have to be the one doing everything and understanding everything and building everything. Like, I remember, like, how do I make a website? How do I start a blog? There were lots of people saying, oh, it's going to be a $10,000 project. It's going to take 6 months. And I was like, wow, I need to figure this out myself, because I didn't have that financial runway. But things are different now. Yeah.
I will also add, I think a big thing that for me was integral in being able to show up to consults with like leading with the client and like sitting back a little bit and just kind of creating space for them to pursue what they wanted and to explore what they wanted, was building trust that I had something to offer, if not them, just like in general. Because I think that enabled me to show up engaged, but letting them like be center, and me just kind of knowing, okay, like if these things come up, I can help with them. And here's how, in a way that did not feel quite so like, give it like so graspy. And where I felt like my self-worth was tied up into that. So I think that's also to this point of, if you're struggling with that, maybe solve for that and like see how you can create an environment where you can solve for that, whether that's getting more experience, whether that's supporting yourself in other ways. So there's not as much pressure on every conversation that you have. But I think that is like a pretty magical combination when you don't need the other person to sign with you. When your well-being is not tied up in their decision, you can really help them figure out what would be best for them, which feels so much better. But you can also have confidence knowing that like you can support them in certain ways.
Yeah. And I mean, time does take care of that. Like as you get more experience, I think we get less attached to being like, oh, but that person, I can help them so much. I hope that they say yes. Like you can have consults or discovery calls or like periods of time where you work with someone, you're like, I can help them. That will be great if they choose to do this. But if they don't, like, here's a thought you could borrow if this resonates with you. But I used to think like there's nothing I can do to make the wrong person work with me. And there's nothing I can do that's going to scare away or not have the right person come in. And it just gave me permission for when I was like, oh, but I really loved that person and they didn't email me back and they didn't say yes and they didn't sign. I'm like, maybe there were things going on that were going to be a total pain in the ass. Maybe they were going to have way bigger issues in their business that I was not ever going to be able to deliver what that person needed. Mm-hmm. Like, I just assumed that like the no's are a gift. The people who don't join, that's a gift. It's a gift for them because they're going to go find what they need. It's a gift for me because my business is really nice and I love all my clients and it's beautiful. Something we've talked about before, but I just wanted to bring it back. This was, I don't know, like maybe you could share what's been helpful for you in that. But for me, it was also making sure I have a hobby. Like making sure I have things outside of my business that bring me joy, that are fulfilling, that have that don't need to be good. Like I really like to knit. I'm not that good at it. And I'm really slow and all my stuff has like holes and like the sleeves on the sweaters are often not the same length, but I like it. It's fun. There's no consequence to that not being brilliant, but I still get a sense of satisfaction because I just made this like cute little misshapen sweater for me. And that's fun. Yeah. So I think like having things in your life where they're fun, they're joyful, the stakes are not high, and you don't have to be brilliant at them is underestimated in the world.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, I think having more going on, I was like, because it is very easy to get completely wrapped up in coaching and your business and this one thing. I think basically anything that helps the stakes feel lower, whether that's like just mindset stuff that you tell yourself, whether that is filling your life up outside of coaching, whether that is supporting yourself in different ways, whether that's like getting more people on your team, either literally or figuratively, anything that helps the stakes feel lower.
So well said. Yeah. This was awesome. I can't believe I disclosed my horror stories to you. And
thank you.
For everyone's entertainment.
I'm gonna think about. I'm sure I have more horror stories. Maybe I blocked them out, but we can pepper some horror stories out, you don't need to unearth them for me. Thank you. Let the lid stay on. Keep
them in the vault. They've been digested. You're good.
This was a pleasure as always.
So much fun.
How can people work with you, Erin? How can people find you?
They can find me at besuperbound.com, where this the show notes are currently living at besuperbound.com/coaching mixer. And I have links for both of us there. I have links to you and to your Instagram. But tell us your website in case someone is like, I almost said photographic memory. No, they're driving, they're hearing, they remember words. What is that called?
Auditory?
Sure.
I don't know.
If they remember when they hear things, this is for them.
Great. Photographic memory, but they're not looking at it.
Yeah, they're not looking at it.
I'm sure there are lots of people out there being
promise
like, oh my
we're
God,
not drinking.
this is the word. It's a Thursday. It's late in the week. Anyway, my website is Elana McKernan. No, it's not. Wow. Are we really not drinking right now? What is happening?
Maybe Steve slipped something in my drink. He might have
added something in my drink. I made this myself. It's coachingwithelana.com. Coachingwithelana.com. My Instagram is Elana McKernan.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we've both been on vacation, everybody. I hope that our silliness was fun for you. But yeah, reminders that you don't have to, it's your business. You don't have to do anything that doesn't feel in alignment for you when it comes to marketing, selling, how you work with people. You get to create it. It's the fun part.
Yep. And chances are you listening to what feels in alignment with you and following that will be good for your business.
100%. I have a lot of evidence that is true.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope everybody is willing to do that experiment for themselves and see.
Yay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Erin.
Bye.
Bye.